But yeah, this is part of, we don't get wrapped up in talking a lot about the phenomena, because this is not the objective of this path. This path is to go beyond the phenomena, not to try to develop and sustain it and be enamored of it, but to get beyond that. This is the problem with a lot of the paths that want to develop it. They stay stuck there. And for what? This is not where one wants to be.
No, it's of no benefit whatsoever.
No, it's not beneficial. Yeah, one has all the visions. It's the dream states are vivid. They're just that, what do you call it again? Lucid dreams. That you're in there, you're aware you're dreaming at the moment, you can change the dream, it's very real, it's as real as what you're doing here. You go through that. You go through, like, sometime that fire, internal fire, the tumo, and it feels like you're going to spontaneously combust. I mean, this is raging fire that goes on for quite some time. But these are not the points that one wants to remain in. This is what one wants. It's just part of the journey, and one passes through it. This is why we don't make a great importance about that here. I don't want people to get caught up in that. Like Siddhananda was just talking about that. When that stuff is there, it's very real. Flying visions, and you just close your eyes, and she's talking about the flying and going through mountains, and mountains deconstructing, and going through the earth and seeing all these things. And yes, this stuff happens, but it's not the point of the journey. It's not the end point. This is just something that we pass through, and it's accepted as part of the process that happens.
Yeah. And with all of that happening, it's such a blessing to have that settle down and begin to blow out. With all of it, it was just so much movement and so much phenomena that it really is very overwhelming. It's not by any means. I can't imagine that anyone would want to cultivate that or stay there.
Yeah, it can
be unasked for.
Right, it can be very overwhelming.
Yeah.
It can be very, very, very overwhelming. All the senses get sharper for a time. The vision, the hearing, everything is on such overload. And so again, these are just parts of that journey, and it's not something that one needs to cultivate, although a lot of paths spend a lot of time on trying and attempting to cultivate those things. In a genuine Kundalini awakening, there's nothing that needs to be cultivated. It's going to show up.
Yes, that's it. It spontaneously comes.
And one just hopes that they pass through it rapidly, to get to the end point. The end point is not the phenomena. The end point is not the psychic stuff that arises. It's none of that. The end point is to blow out the cities. One wants to be a Siddha master, which means having gone beyond the cities, gone beyond the phenomena to that clear light that, no matter what you want to call it, realization or satori or nirvana or whatever you want to call it, the same thing. You want to get to that end point. And when one gets to that end point, the rest of that stuff dies down. It's no longer needed. It's gone. It's blown out. Nibbana, blown out. Okay? All of that phenomena stuff, it's no longer needed. But yes, in the midst of the journey, one can have flashbacks of very real encounters of past life things. It's like one is reliving it again. Yes, these things can happen. It's not something one tries to develop. It just arises in the midst of the journey. That's all. It's part of the journey. So we don't make a big deal about it on this path. People want to come in with some of their things they're experiencing, and we want to downplay it because we want to get them moved forward. through all of that stuff, not to get stuck there. Because what's that going to benefit? You know, it's just part of the process to show you that this reality is not what one thinks. It's not this solid thing. Okay? So when Kundalini's going, it's going to show you in many ways that it's not what one has taken it to be. It is not this solid, you know, element. It's very fluid. Time is fluid in a lot of the points of the journey, extremely fluid. So that's, you know, again, part of the stuff that's encountered.
Yeah, and the symbology, I mean, it's so, the mountains blowing up, the explosions, I mean, this is just so symbolic of that solid. So what you took to be solid is breaking down and exploding. You know, the symbology is just always pointing to that as well, it seems like.
Well, yeah. As one goes through the journey, different symbology is going to rise, in the, especially when you're getting to lucid dream state and that type of thing. Of, yeah, as the attachment to form and stuff starts to wane, you'll see exploding mountains, deconstructing buildings. There will be a lot of symbology that takes place along the way. That's why, you know, some of this stuff is looked at and you know, seen for what it is. And at that point, if somebody comes up and says this is happening or that's happening, I can say, well, this is why, you know, this is that point of the journey. But yeah, a lot of very symbolic things will happen. Like we were saying before, some of the paths, some of the Tibetan paths, they really try to develop this dream state cognition. But again, it's not something one needs to attempt to develop. In the midst of a genuine Kundalini awakening is very strong and it's full blown, and one just goes through that. It's a part of the journey. Yes, for that time that one has the very lucid dream states, and one does find out things in the midst of them, symbolically and things. At some point in the journey, whatever one asks intellectually, you'll get some answers back for it. Again, it's, you know, not the end point. So don't get enamored of these things. This is not, you know, this is not the major, and this is why it doesn't get talked a lot about here, because it's not where we want people to be focused on. I want people to break through that as rapidly as possible to get to realization, that extinguishing of that, not being more caught up, because that's all the realm of duality. It's all Shakti. It's all that motion of mind still. So the point here is to get beyond the mind spin. What's prior to it, what's prior to birth, what remains after, what runs like a thread through. That's the point that one wants to get to, not to be caught up in more and more phenomena, no matter how grand it seems at the time, or how consequently as well as terrifying as it may be, because some of it can be quite terrifying and disturbing, you know.
So would you say the main purpose of all the phenomena is just to take you through it so that you can see it and you can see the unreality of it? Or what would you say is the purpose of all the phenomena to enable people to move through it more quickly? Like, why does it happen that way?
Well, I mean, it happens because it's what's been collected in consciousness for lifetimes. So again, it's a purging of that. All these experiences one has had for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. And so again, all of these things rise to be encountered. All your belief systems rise to be encountered. All your fears arise to be encountered in one way or another. The cycling patterns one's been involved in will continue to arise.
And they're blown up, to be honest. So you just can't not see it, Much of the phenomena is also very universal, like the snakes and, even the explosions and that kind of thing. So, just showing that mind is one. It's the same and the same fears and all of these, although everyone has their own mind spins they've created around it, but here that phenomena being around Guruji in this path has settled down so much, and there can be some of that cycling through, and then boom, it's gone, and that settled peace, that non-dual, is just there, just boom, and boy, then one could say, that's the jewel that you can see where it's going, and just, not anyone saying it like that, but my goodness, that's the end point there, where it just is worth every piece of it, to just boom. And that happens just off and on, it's there and whoosh, gone.
Yeah.
Just like that. So.
Yeah, that's what happens. More towards the end of the journey, it waves in and out until it finally breaks and you're done with it. But yeah, a lot of the phenomena and things are very universal. Seeing snakes when Kundalini awakens, very universal. Sometimes fires when you start to get to that Tumo stage and things are really burning. Okay. I've had all sorts of things. Fires chasing you and fires, coming up, and snakes, big cobras coming up, behind you. And, when Kundalini was real active, one time we had this, the dream state of this taxi cab, came up, and it's transporting you, and you open the door and it's just filled with snakes. I mean, you couldn't have shoved another snake in there if you tried. I mean, just all sorts of these types of things. And this happens for years and years of this type of things, of colors, and like I said, lucid dreaming and flying dreams and swimming dreams and, all of these types of things, and very, very fluid time, and, a lot of what things would be termed miraculous things, people would get around and instant healings, and I mean, all sorts of stuff just takes place. That's all. But again, they're not the end point, and it's not things that you want to gravitate to, cling to, or to push away. It's just a part of that journey that one navigates through to say, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it. Continue. And things continue to get pulled away until there's nothing left but that clear light that is, that ever-present is. Okay? That nothing can wind up being touched. It's not touched by anything. Okay? The world revolves around it, but it's unconcerned with the world. It has no involvement in it. It makes it possible, but it has no involvement in it. And that's the end point that one wants to get to, realization of that being that is, that has no other. And that's all. And so anyway, this is what takes place. Unfortunately, we had about a half-hour discussion of it that was, I think, probably even more in-depth than what we had gotten here on film. About a half hour into it, again go, oh, It might have been nice to have this on because it might have benefited some people. But again, this is what happens on a daily occurrence with being a guru. People come, and these are the discussions that one has. You know, invariably it comes around to something of this type of nature. Just that this is the life. That's it. That's what remains. And if people want to talk about frivolous things, then that's what's engaged in as well. So they open the door, and then the satsang comes out. Otherwise, that's it. That's the way that works. If you want to know, you got to ask. You learned that? Okay, then that's good. So on that note, we're going to close out this discussion on the phenomena, some of the phenomena that takes place along the way, and why it's not attempted to be developed here, because it really will spontaneously happen on its own once one is in a fully awakened and active Kundalini. You're not going to get this if the Kundalini is not fully activated. You know, prior to that, it's, you know, something that's attempting to awaken. And so people that come in, and I've had people say, well, we can control it. I feel it when I'm in my yoga class. Well, no, then you're in an illusion about it. It's not a fully awakened Kundalini. That's not it. You're having a pranic rush, that's all. You're not having an awakened Kundalini, because once it's awake, you are not controlling it. I guarantee it. I can tell you that point blank, and it will be going 24/7. Day in, day out, year in, year out. And there is no stopping of the experiences that arise and the journey that it takes one on. Okay? So if you're controlling it, you're having pranic rushes. You're not in an awakened Kundalini. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, be careful what you're playing with, though, because you don't want to open it and not have a good guru and a guide, because you can really get lost in those phenomena and experiences that come up, and you can be trying to develop things that you really don't want to be developing. You can wind up in some really negative place and experiences that you don't want to be in. And there are a lot of people, unfortunately, that are in hospitals, in mental wards, because they were playing with things they didn't understand and getting in over their head and not having correct guidance, and then getting lost in it. Like I said, if this happened to me in a prior lifetime, I went stonewall crazy. It's not a joke. These are not things, and this is why all the texts say you don't attempt to awaken Kundalini without a guru. There's a reason for it. It's not something that one should be playing with. These energies are very powerful, and they are going through the psyche. They are going through the unconscious. And a lot of stuff is brought up, and so one needs to have a reliable guide to help one understand the journey and to keep it going forward in a way that is beneficial. And we don't want to see the casualties. You know, there are casualties along the way. Unfortunately, that's a reality. So just that caution out there as well. This is not to bring up big fear mode for everybody, though, but again, have a little wisdom, use a little wisdom, that's all. Namaste.
Namaste.